July 8, 2014. This is the X-ray flux chart out of Boulder. We've had a strong M6.5, it looks like, just under the X Flare beginning range on this chart. And looking at it on stereo behind, which is the opposite side of the sun from the Earth, you can tell that there's been a coronal mass ejection also with it. Let's look at it closer on the SDO, and I'll tell you what, it is an impressive image. I'll show you this. We'll stop it and bring it to a close-up. Again, you've had a flare and a coronal mass ejection. These will be geo-effective. Look how tightly that coil is wound and how well defined it is and how much energy is involved in that. It's a lot of area. And think about it, guys. In the last month, most of these coronal mass ejections have come out in a coil. But again, never one that well defined and that tight. That's, again, is not directly Earth-facing, but when you see these 6.5 flares, anywhere that you see them, it's like a light bulb. Remember that, just like the X flares. They are geo-effective, and we will see the impacts within 48 hours of this. Now, 2109 and 2108 are still beta, gamma, delta, triple configurated, but 2113, the small one to the left, is where we just got this strong flare. That tells you that this rating sometimes can be overrated, but the M class chance is 70%, X is 15%. Again, this is the area that they have highly ranked for that trouble. But looking at the 1 minute data chart, which is the most accurate, it looks like it will be a 6.5 on this. And it just happened. Check space whether it's not listed yet. Right there. I think we're going to get a 6.5 out of this, real close to a 7. Now, let's look at Comet Jacques for a moment. This is a gap in timestamp of 22 hours. Something hit the comet. It's not showing a coronal mass ejection that's right by this comet, but there's 22 hours of frames missing. Usually because this thing takes about 3 days to get this, all the processing has been done. But again, very healthy comet. Something goes across it, probably a coronal mass ejection. That's why I'm saying they are hiding some of the solar events. No longer will they show us the CME tracker charts. Now they're saying stereo A and B would go down till 2016 because they're going behind the sun. But look at the difference in that after this coronal mass ejection comes over. That's actually quite an impressive comet that's headed to a close pass with Venus. Here on the same satellite, different camera, same 22 hours are missing. You'll see the comet come in. You'll see kind of a jump there, and the timestamps match both times. But guys, you do not see a coronal mass ejection. Not exactly sure what happened there. Something disrupted that comet tail. But let's look at the 6.9 quake that happened yesterday in Mexico. These are charts from the University of Tucson, Arizona, quite a distance away. The filtered, long wave, and short wave. But let's look at this short period seismic activity chart. They're showing 2 quakes. You see that? 2 strong quakes, a 7 and a 6. Nowhere else is that picked up. If you go north and look at Bozeman, Montana, you almost see a gap. This is the very long wave graph here. There's almost a gap, then a long period of movement as far north as Montana. Now again, this I think was about 59 miles deep. If that quake had been on the surface, there would have been a lot of trouble in that area. But there's been quite a bit of destruction from the quake itself. Now this is going all the way to Boston. Boston picked up shock waves before it caught the big impact. You see that? The green line happened first, then the black line, then the red line, in that order. But this was the area of the quake, and there just has not been that many aftershocks. And some reports have talked about it being a foreshock event because of that. But that shortwave Tucson chart did pick up 2 quakes, and I want to show you a couple images. Now this is San Pedro in that area. This is one of the churches. I guess it's a Catholic church, but it broke both turrets loose on the left and right. See the cracks that go down here and here? That's a lot of force. Some of these buildings have been around there a long time, built very well. Now you see the right over both angels, one that cracked right down into it. but I'm not sure. I guess these are Catholic churches in the area. Never been there. Don't know much about the information behind the picture other than looking at the damage. And these are since that quake yesterday. This is a close-up of the area. It almost broke the turret completely off. Again, we hope that this is the only quake they're dealing with. This reminds me of one of the California quakes when it broke that bottom floor off. You can see the steps that are trapped under this thing, and it looks like it shifted forward to the right. Landslides up in the mountains. Not a lot of mainstream information on this. They're not talking about the solar flares or the large quakes. Many reports are saying that the earthquakes are not being correctly interpreted on the maps. It's a heads up. Be safe.